Chan.
Lei Wulong.
Correct. What form of martial arts is practiced by Bayek?
Taekwondo.
Correct. Again, Tekken 2. At the end of a one-player game, who's the final opponent a player faces?
Kazuma.
The Devil. Tekken 2 includes... Okay, I'll accept that. Tekken 2 includes animal as well as human fighters. What is the name of the kangaroo?
Roger.
Correct. Whose home stage is a church?
King.
Correct. Which character sports a series of tattoos?
Paul.
No, Bruce Irvin. In arcade mode, there's a hidden option which allows the player to fight... I'll start this off, finish. In a first-person view. The player's selected character appearing as a wireframe. True or false?
True.
Correct. At the end of that round, Mr. Lynch, you have scored 6 points and you have passed on none. Thank you. Let's have the next contestant, please. Mr. Kirk Ewan, you were born in Drumnadrochit, and your specialist subject is video game subjects related to the letter P. You have 45 seconds on your specialist subject, and your time begins now. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peckers. Why?
Because he's an
Correct. What flightless black and white Arctic fowl, which gives its name to a famous chocolate bar, an enemy of Batman, and a brand of paperbacks, does Mario have to return to his parents on the snow level of Mario 64? And here's a clue, it looks like this.
Puffin.
Correct. The rudimentary tennis game is considered by many to be the first true video game. What is it?
Pong.
Correct. What game featured the character Peter Perfect?
Pap.
Super Knockout. What does the B button do? I've started, so I'll finish. What does the B button do on FIFA Soccer on the Mega Drive?
Pass.
Correct! At the end of that round, Mr. Ewan, you scored 4 points. You said some rude words, but you passed on none. Let's have the next contestant, please. Mr. David Perry, you were born in Torquay, and your specialist subject is the life and times of the Street Fighter arcade game. You have 45 seconds on your specialist subject, and that time begins now. When you finish Street Fighter 2 with Ken, what happens to Ken?
He gets the girl and goes off into the sunset.
Correct. When you beat an opponent without taking a hit, what congratulatory message appears on the screen?
Perfect.
Correct. The bonus stage on Street Fighter 2 involves players destroying a car. Which two characters can destroy it the fastest?
Eddie Honda.
Yes.
And Ken if you use a Dragon Punch. Or Chun-Li with the 100 kick.
Yes, correct. Point for that. Which character practices the art of yoga?
Yoga is Delsin.
Correct. So, at the end of that round, Mr. Dave Perry, you have 4 points and you passed on none. Let's have our final contestant, please. Mr. Rick Henderson, you were born in London's glitzy West End, and your specialist subject is football management simulations in 1986 to 1996. Your 45 seconds begins now. Who wrote the classic ZX Spectrum game Football Manager?
Kevin Toms.
Correct. Kevin Toms had a beard, true or false?
True, and a very nice
Correct.
type
This beard was cack, true or false?
It was a dreadful beard.
Correct. Which company released the game Player Manager 2?
Anko.
Correct. In which football game is Clive Tilsley the in-game commentator?
Championship Manager 2.
Correct. Sensible world of soccer. To the nearest 5,000, how many club players are there?
Over 100,000, probably,
No,
I should imagine.
25,000. At the end of that round, Mr. Henderson, you've scored 5 points, passed on none, and have a fine beard. Well, let's go up to Gamesmaster and find out what the scores are now.
Dave holds the lead with 8 points, but Rick and Derek now have 7 points each, while Kirk continues to languish in the rear with a miserable 5.
Right, we're now going into our penultimate round. 4 viewers in Drumnadrochit. That means there's 2 left. We are calling this penultimate round Don't Shoot Too Soon. Before we go into it, though, let's prepare ourselves for a festive feature type situation. Japan and Britain, 2 separate cultures, half a world apart, linked by one thing: anoraks. Here in Japan, they call them otaku. The word refers to any hobby that borders on the obsessive, but this is Gamesmaster after all, so there was one group of otaku I was contractually obliged to meet. Unfortunately, this meant getting up eye-baggingly early on a Sunday morning. It's midday on a Sunday in downtown Tokyo. Most of us would be asleep, but the video game otaku have assembled for a costume party where they dress up as their favourite video games characters. I've decided to get into the spirit, and I've come as everyone's favourite from Street Fighter 2, Fat Sumo Bloke, Eddie Honda. These costume parties are a tragically regular occurrence in Tokyo. Hundreds of teenage punters shun the daylight and huddle inside clubs to get down with like-minded weirdos. Some people actually buy their costumes, with prices ranging from 400 to 600 quid. The idea being to garner as much attention as possible, with cash prizes going to the grooviest threads. Well, obviously in Japan I am an enormous celebrity as well, and because of this they've actually asked me to be a judge on the competition to see who's got the best costume. So I've got to look for a costume that's very big, very extravagant, someone who's put a lot of time and effort into it. So I'm going to have a little wee wander now. I don't know if you can tell, but this guy's wearing a pair of pants on his head. It's a pair of pants. Excellent. Top work there. Nice one, mate. Sorted. I'm going to go and make sure that she can get in and out of her costume, okay? Okay, this is my runner-up for the best costume. It's a lovely costume, but I used to have a carpet in this material when I was younger, and I'd find it a bit unsettling, I'm afraid, but very good. Very good. Yes, after hours of gruelling analysis and some costumes that were obviously from bizarre Japanese games I'd never heard of, I came to my decision and wrapped my rapidly eroding credibility around me like a shield and took to the stage. Excuse me. Predictably, my newfound Japanese buddies didn't miss the opportunity to take the mick out of my strange foreign ways. Okay. I speak no Japanese. Other prizes were handed out to people who took the whole thing a bit too seriously, but in the end I went for the simpler, more minimalist approach. That's my goal, that's my goal. The otaku partied long into the afternoon, but I, having met the girl of my dreams, did what any normal man would do. I gave her my holiday washing to clean. Our final round works thus: 90 seconds of general video games questions. At the end of this round, we will lose the two co-commentators with the two lowest scores at the moment. These scores are so close, anybody could still get through, even Kirk. So best of luck, everyone. Your 90 seconds begins now. What was the catchphrase of the game character Earthworm Jim? Ewing, drum the rocket.
Groovy.
Correct. How did Jim come to have such superpowers? Ewing, drum the rocket.
A suit fell on him from outer space.
Correct. Listen to this soundtrack. What game does it come from? Perry Toki.
Donkey Kong Country.
Correct. What am I? I am a green friendly dinosaur. I have a long tongue which I can use to suck eggs in. Ewing, drum the rocket.
Yoshi.
Correct, Mario's friend. The sequel to the best-selling PC game Jeff Crammond's Grand Prix is called what? Ewing, drum the rocket.
Grand Prix 2.
Correct. What is the Mega Drive called in America? Perry, Torquay.
Genesis.
Correct. What is the Super Nintendo known as in Japan? Henderson. From West End?
The Super Famicom.
Correct. And that is our last question, so let's go for the Gamesmaster to find out the scores.
There are winners and there are losers. And at the end of that round, I'm afraid Rick and Derek fall into that latter category with 7 and 8 points respectively. Dave continued to hold the lead with 10 points. But miraculously, Kirk has managed to earn himself a place in the final with 9 points in total.
Okay, so while we say a fond farewell to Derek and Rick, let's find out the next round that Kirk and Dave are going to be playing. It's the grand final. Let's peer inside Gamesmaster's Yuletide log.
It is Christmas, and what better way to finish than having a final playoff between the two leaders on the first snow level of Mario 64. The two co-commentators must race to the bottom of the perilous ice ride in the fastest time possible, while trying desperately not to skid off to oblivion. Good luck.
And so it all bows down to this final dramatic confrontation. With me in the commentary box for this Christmas special is Gamesmaster presenter Mr. Dominik Diamond. Welcome, Dominik. Thank you very much, Dominik. Now, Dominik, at this point you usually ask the co-commentator an amusing question to start off. Well, I don't think there's any need for that tonight, is there? No, you are quite correct, Dominik. Let's move on to the game. What tips have you got? Well, remember, it's a very tricky track here, Dominik. What I would do, I'd make sure you finish it because some of these turns are very tight indeed. OK, thank you very much, Dominik. The challenge, then, is whoever can get to the bottom of the Cool Mountain course in the quickest time will walk away with our special Christmas quiz joystick. If both competitors fall off, then whoever has managed to stay the longest on the course will win. Best of luck, guys.